Hey guys, welcome back to Globetrotter Gaming. Today I'll be continuing my gameplay of Suzerain, so let's get right to it. So in part 1, I got elected and then inaugurated as president, so I haven't really done anything since, so let's kind of just dive into the game. So I messed with the game a little bit just beforehand to see what it was like there, and I know you're going to have different tasks to do based on the ones that have this exclamation point there, but I just kind of want to mess with the map for a minute, just see what it's like, and then I'm going to start diving into the tasks. So if you go here, you can see it's got city information, looks like briefings on a few things, logistical issues. So the mayor expressed growing concerns about escalating traffic congestion in Holsword, which from what I remember, Holsword is the capital. Let's see, we have like Morbell over here. Seems like it's got really just kind of its own fictional world there, and then if I remember, if you click on one of these other countries, it's gonna boot out to like the entire map here. So like Sordland's here, and if you click on that, it kind of goes to the different regions of Sordland with the cities all around. But let's just kind of see what other countries there are. It's like Valgsland, excuse me. Read the report. Congratulations from Chancellor Hegel. Sent his congratulations on your great victory and wish for close cooperation between the countries in the future. He signaled concessions from Valgsland in case of a promising trade deal. So that's an option. We have the Kantanan Security Pact. I don't really want to go on any of those yet. I'm taking a quick look. I'm not going to get involved with anything yet. Here's the Republic of Wayland. People, Justice, and Unity. The congratulations from President Smolak. The Arcasian Treaty Organization, and the Guild of Royal Allies, the Kingdom of Rumburg. I remember that's like one of the big ones that mentioned at the start there. So we're unfriendly with the Kingdom of Rumburg, excuse me, with Queen Beatrice Livingston. I don't know, maybe we can get a better terms, but we'll see. Let's go back to Sordland, just look around for another minute and just see if there's anything else that needs to be done. So over on Lockhaven, the port of Lockhaven loses importance. So it's no longer the busiest on the Mercopa continent, falling to 3rd position, but it still has the potential. So that could be something where I might want to fix down the road. Arvery, there's a lack of investment there. Foreign investors from Agnolia are becoming hesitant to invest. Maybe that could be because of my guy's tough immigration stance. And there's low production in Ognaland, I don't know how to say that, from the city of Lauren. Okay, so yeah, a lot to clean up here, but let's go to Holsword and see what needs to be done here. First, let's just take a look at the city information. So, looks like the first in population, 5.2 million in population. Second in GDP ranking, so I don't know what first would be, but let's kind of dive right into one of the tasks we need to do here. And here we have the briefing on the current political situation. Let's just go right to that. So Peter Vectorn arrived a couple minutes early and sat across from me. He was struggling to hold back his smile. Peter's a great guy, from what I remember during the prelude there. We did it, Anton. We won. Finally, all those years with our noses to the grindstone paid off. Peter's eyes sparkled. The strain of the past months had put a damper on his usual rakish charm, but today he was looking and acting more like his old self. He loosened his tie and undid the top 2 buttons. Alright. Whoops, I skipped it too fast, but enjoying the new secretary I picked out for you. Thought you'd appreciate her gorgeous sets of talents. It's a little creepy there. But it's a shame the rest of your staff aren't as easy on the eyes. Okay, that's a little weird, but hey, back in university, did you ever imagine we would be sitting here in the Maroon Palace? We have to celebrate. Let's celebrate that. I got my hands on something special. An Erlori Maroon 30-year-old will celebrate at the ball. This is not the time to celebrate. We have work to do. You know what? Let's celebrate. Might as well. What's Erlori? No, it's a city within the greater Holsword region. I opened the expensive bottle of whiskey and poured it. The exquisite smell filled the room immediately. The 1924, that was my freshman year, also the year after the Revolution. But this smells like heaven. The future awaits, Petter. Screw 1924, it's tainted now. Let's say the future awaits, that seems optimistic. Toast. So, Sordland, I almost said Holsword, but that's the city. Before smelling the whiskey and taking a sip, the vanilla tone combined with an oaky taste developed into a lingering smokiness. And he seemed to be really enjoying himself. This is how we should start all meetings, Anton. We wouldn't get much done, remember the last administration? We could, but maybe we shouldn't. Yeah, let's say that. Maybe not, but thanks for the drink. This is really amazing. And Lucian Galade, my chief strategist, walked in. He was a compact man with sharp bird-like features. Briefly surveying, he sat down. This guy seems very, just strict to business based on this. Gentlemen. The tall case clock in the room struck 3 o'clock. Damn, you really are exactly on time. Hello, Petter. Turned towards me, he very slightly bowed his head. Glad to see you, Lucian. So I say, Lucian, how are you? I am ready and able, sir. Yeah, this guy's just like, your typical, like, no time to mess around, strict to business. Soft clipped tones that immediately drew your attention towards what he had to say, and Petter and I waited for him to proceed. Let's start by evaluating our current situation. The majority of the Sordland people demand change. They are more concerned about the economy than their constitution, but they blame the system. People are losing their trust in our democracy. Why do you think radicals like Bernard's Circus are becoming more popular? Everyone's expecting us to bring the change the last government did not. Franz Richter, leader of the reformists, believe that true change can only be accomplished by transferring some of our powers to the Assembly. As I stated, if you watch my first video, I want my guy to kind of be a democratic dictator, so I'm going to try to restrict that as much as I can. So I move to the details of their demands shortly. I agree with the reformists. We need to listen to the people. If we lose power, we won't be able to execute the changes. That sounds like the mindset my guy's going to have. It may create issues for us, yes. However, with the reformists gaining more popularity, we may not be in a position to stand against them. Mr. Richter managed to persuade many members of the Assembly to give their support for drafting a new constitution. Politicians are quickly increasing in number. While the reformist wing inside our party is still a minority, they could have a tripartisan majority, especially if they unite under Franz Richter. The USP reformists aren't wrong to agree that we need change, but we should be in charge. Mr. Richter could be a potential ally. Our party must fall in line with our position. We can't have a strong divide. This is a hard one to pick. I'm gonna say that one there. We need change, but we should be in charge. We can't let the what's the People's Freedom and Justice Party. I'm assuming that's like the opposing party. We can't let them take the spotlight on this. The demands are clear. They want to limit the president's veto power, ensure the Supreme Court is independent, and take away the court's right to vote on constitutional amendments. I support the reformists. We need proper balance. We must listen to their demands, otherwise we're no different, or I won't allow them to influence me. We'll shape our own future. That sounds like my guy's mindset. I agree, sir. The Old Guard will do its best to preserve the Constitution. Chief Justice Hawker and his allied judges have great influence, which will be tough to break. Court also has the final say over constitutional legislation. Without their approval, we cannot even change it. We'll need a comprehensive bill to balance the power. We must break the power of the Supreme Court one way or another. I'd rather not go against them. I'm gonna say that. That seems like a way to kind of limit it and have my guy have more power. I agree, they have too much power over Sordland politics. We need to take away their vote in constitutional legislation. It's absurd they get to vote for bills when they aren't even elected. I'd say he's got a point there. Looks like we have many challenges. We cannot allow obstruction. I'm gonna say obstructionists. We can figure it out. Our party still holds 130 out of 250 seats. I like how it gives kind of like a background of, you know, their government. Like, it's like, oh, there's 130 seats, but there's 250 in total, so that way you're aware of it if you didn't know ahead of time. However, to reform, we need a 2/3 majority in the National Assembly, which is 166 votes, and a simple majority, which is 6 votes. After we've settled, we will need to talk with our party figures. The first goal must be to get the 150 signatures needed to start. Okay. Following the green light from the USP, we'll reach out to the other party leaders to see if they would back our draft, and then convince the justice of the court. The entire process will take a long time, but we must start working with the Reform Committee to evaluate all possibilities for a new constitution as soon as possible. We'll write a more democratic constitution with reformists. Should give the president wide-ranging powers, and we can work with the Old Guard. Wide-ranging powers. That seems like what I want my guy to do. That's very bold. Then we must start with eliminating the Supreme Court's authority over constitutional legislation and perhaps take their immunity away. Don't forget the reformists want us to address the loopholes in the presidential veto system. I will not limit my veto powers. They can remain. Some reform is better than none. Of course. Nope, not limiting it. Petter looked troubled. It'll be very difficult to plead that case to the reformists. Taking away the legislative power while holding your own absolute authority over legislation would look like an attempt to consolidate your own power. Anton, we got elected by promising democratic reforms. I'm already getting scolded by them for my mindset here. We can package it as a democratic reform. No matter what you say, I intend to come out. We don't need the reformists. We can package it as that. The public might be persuaded, but the reformists in the Assembly are not going to fall for that. It already seems like my plan is not going that great, but we'll see how it goes. They would try to paint you as yet another strongman trying to grab our power. What do you suggest we do then? The real problems with the judiciaries, I can handle them. It will be done under the Rayne administration. Let's see what they suggest. There are 2 changes to the Constitution that are not open for the discussion. The Supreme Court will no longer be able to vote on constitutional amendments, and the President's absolute veto will be taken away and can be replaced with a limited veto by fixing the current loopholes. You know what, let's just agree to that there. Let's work with the reformists, yes sir. So I wonder if, like, difference between, like, the absolute veto and the other veto is, like, kind of like how in Congress they can override a president's veto with an extra vote. Like, I wonder if that's kind of part of it. We'll form a reform committee together with all parties and start reaching out to the stakeholders and the court for a new constitution. Okay, fair enough to me. By later in the year, we should have an idea of the reform contents and what the other parties want. Lucian took notes. Another important point, we must be aware of the Lotharberg Group. The oligarchs convened onto this organization to influence economic policies. Conrath led it for a long time, and then it's Mr. Walter Tusk. According to reports, some members of the National Business Council are in their pockets, and they'll try to bribe us in exchange for economic protections. I want to work with them. This new administration will be open to talk to businessmen. I won't be bought. I'll enter a dialogue. We'll need them to be diplomatic. We won't let these privileged, greedy, and snobby capitalists run our country. I'll enter a dialogue with them eventually. Wise approach. It's good to understand and see if we can reach a middle ground. Because, like, I want my nation to be pro-business and everything, but also, you know, not corrupt, like this is kind of implying they'll be. As far as I know, Marcel Caranti has some strong ties to this group, and his influence could be an asset for us, but I'm sure he'll want something in return. I'm aware of Mr. Caranti's wide network. That could come in handy. The group's influence is an important force, one that we should use to our administration's advantage. That group's dependent on our economic policies. They can't move a finger with us, or Tusk is heading the group. We should make sure he's on our side. They're dependent with us. I wouldn't be so optimistic. The capital they represent could do a lot of damage if it was diverted. We need to tread carefully on all sides with all power players to survive our term. I need to underline the seriousness. It seems like based on these responses, my guy is already not doing that great, but it's also like he just became president, so a lot we can do there, but the military and the general staff are a powerful element, and as history tells us, a dangerous one too. We do have some room to make structural changes by reducing their budget, but it's quite limited. I want to receive the advice of the military. I don't want to die in prison like Archer or Wissy. With the Rumberg threat on the horizon, we can't reduce our defense capability. And the military's been nothing but a burden on it. I'm going to say receive the advice of the military. It is sound to listen to them, but they have very biased and narrow opinions. Nationalism clouds their mind. General Kruger is a specter of the past. It's Valken Kruger. He's a swordish 4-star general. Defense Minister Josef Lancia is more loyal to us compared to General Kruger, a fact that obviously can change our actions. Either way, I see a potential rift between the two since they're clearly of different minds. If we act strongly against the military, both those guys will unite against us. I agree, we need to tread carefully here. See, it's kind of like, the way I want it to go is I want my country to have a strong military, but also not where, you know, there's going to be like a coup or anything. Like a strong military, but with responsible leadership. Lucian looked at his watch. Well then, gentlemen, precisely 30 minutes. Again, the solution guy is just strict to business. And this concludes our political briefing for today. Our next meeting will be about our media strategy. Talk to you soon, sir. I'll keep in touch. And see you soon, Petter. A mysterious amount of smoke was rising far away on the horizon. Alright, so yeah, looks like the die has officially been cast on how we're going to proceed about everything there. So thanks for watching part 2, and stay tuned for part 3.